How you doing? I'm Brant Grant for Firekeeper Recovery, and this is my special guest.
Hey everybody, I'm Bumper Smith. I'm with the Sequo Donana Cherokee Reentry Program.
And we're here today to speak to you about recovery and hopefully bring you more videos in the future, but this is our first one. So what you been up to, Bumper, for the past 5 years or so you been?
Yeah, 4.5 years, a little over 4.5 years. Been all about self-improvement, and that's what recovery is to me. It's making changes that are obvious, looking back, obvious changes, but it's using the power of choice, and which I think is the greatest power an individual can have, is the power to choose. I always say it was a series of choices that, with other influences, whether it's genetic or cultural or environmental or childhood experiences, but it was a series of choices that led me to where I was, and it was a series of choices that was able to bring me out of it to where I am today.
Yeah, thanks. And myself, I've been doing the MAT program with the Suboxone. I was on it for 4.5 years, and I recently, tapered off and came off in December. So I've been off for 5 months now.
How's that been going for you? What's your experience been like with that?
At the beginning, it was weird, because just like when my brain was healing when I got on Suboxone from being sober, there was a whole new wave of things that Suboxone was holding back. I figured out, or I found out. And I felt these new emotions that flooded that I had to deal with. But my sleep got better for some reason. So maybe there's something in there that was messing with my sleep, where I wasn't sleeping all night. I'd wake up when I was on Suboxone. But now I sleep all night.
Through the night?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
But it's been good now, because I can feel like a new part of my brain opening up off of that too. But I don't think it's because I'm off of it. I think I was holding myself back because I felt comfortable, or I wasn't growing.
Right.
Because I was comfortable.
And recovery is got a lot to do with personal growth.
Yeah.
It's actually in the, all the discomfort that comes from, like you mentioned, experiencing full-on emotions, and new ones, relearning how to deal with things in a healthy way. It's in that discomfort that growth occurs.
Yeah. And damn, I like to say too, when something seems scary now, that's when it's worth doing. Because it was scary to get clean. It was easier not to. So now when it means scary, it just means, for me, it means I'm just going to have to work hard. It's not something that's going to be easy.
It's an opportunity for change.
Yeah, there you go. So this week I was just wanting to talk about what recovery is, or what it means to you, and what it means to me, and how we each may live it differently, and how we live it in common.
Right.
And just show the differences, but how we're all working towards the same goal.
Yes.
So I'm just going to start by reading the definition of recovery from the National Institute of Drug Abuse. Recovery is a process of change through which people improve their health and wellness, live self-directed lives, and strive to reach their full potential. Even people with severe and chronic substance use disorder can, with help, overcome their illness and regain health and social function. This is called remission. Being in recovery is when those positive changes and values become part of a voluntary adopted lifestyle. While many people in recovery believe that abstinence from all substance use is a cardinal feature of recovery lifestyle, others report that handling negative feelings without using substances and living a contributive life are more important parts of their recovery. That's what the government, I guess, says.
The official statement on what recovery is.
Yeah. So I agree with a lot of it. Like, especially to live in a contributive life are more important parts of their recovery.
Yeah.
Then, like, say if complete abstinence, because that means if you have a relapse, then you shouldn't be welcome back in if it's so you're a failure if you have one lapse and not a relapse or whatever.
There's a great amount of stigma attached to it,
and you could just lose people because of that. So maybe that's like the pre-contemplation part of recovery. That's your early recovery. You're wanting to get help, you're trying, but then you fall back. But at least you're trying.
Yeah, making maybe half-hearted attempts at it, but still making attempts.
Yeah. Getting them baby steps in.
Yeah. I agree with most of it, especially the part where it says that it's a process of change.
Yeah.
It's definitely a process. I know that I didn't just become a full-blown addict, overnight, or even just over a series of having fun weekend partying. It was long and drawn out. I mean, it was sneaky though, because you don't realize it's coming on. You don't see it coming until you just have that realization one day that, oh shit, I've got a problem.
Yeah,
a real problem, and I can't manage it without help. So it's a process moving from that stage into sustained long-term recovery. There's going to be times where you slip and fall, where you might feel like you failed, but the only true failing is in giving up. If you fail 100 times, as long as you get back up every time and keep trying and keep going, it could be that 101st time that you get it.
Right.
On average, they say it's 7 times, 7 attempts.
Before.
I think it was like 4 or 5 for myself. So, but definitely, it's definitely a process, and it's definitely about reaching a point where you live a self-directed life. Doing things that people who have never struggled with substance use disorder, they think, you just do them. They're just normal things. But when you grow up, in an environment where it's not conducive to a healthy upbringing or healthy growth, or development, mentally and emotionally, those things, these are regular everyday things that other people do, these are like, I don't know, they can seem like obstacles at first, when really it's just, challenges for opportunities for growth and for change.
Yeah, I like that. It's an opportunity for growth.
Yep.
It's just changing your perspective on things instead of it being, like you said, a challenge. It's an opportunity. So
yep.
That's what a lot of recovery is. It's retraining your brain to seeing the same thing that would make you go back to using. Say, all right, I'll face it and deal with it this time.
Yep.
For me, that's what recovery was, a lot of regaining that control of my life that I didn't have any control of. The drug had the control.
Yeah.
And that's easier for me to say. It's better. I'm recovering control instead of recovering my old self, because I really don't know who my old self was, because he was so lost. And that's why he was using, because he didn't know who he was.
Right.
That's what I come to realize. So I don't want to find that person. I want to recover the person that came through that, and so I just want to control what I can control.
Right.
And that's why I always want to discuss this topic too, because recovery doesn't look the same for everybody.
No.
Because when we first set out in recovery, my recovery was mainly about myself, because that's all I had. And probably your goals were different because you have a family and you was working towards something else.
Yeah.
So how has that been for you, just like reaching them goals in your recovery? Because I'm just like seeing from the outside, it's just like, wow, it's inspiring. It's just like, keep doing it, man.
Damn, well, I appreciate that. When I first this the last time when I came out of treatment from Connellwood to U, and I took on the job at Mothertown. I just knew that I wanted to live a better life than what I had been living, and I had a lot of help. I decided that I didn't know everything, and that the people at Honoliniski, therapists, counselors, even other people who were in long-term recovery, listen to what they have to say, take it into consideration, try to learn something and put it to use. But as far as goals, I knew that I needed to have short-term goals that were attainable. And the more of those that I would attain, the more confidence it gave me to set goals further on out, like maybe mid-range goals or even longer-term goals. And I deliberately went at my own pace. I'm sure that a lot of the goals that I had, I could have knocked them out really fast, but I didn't want to get to a point where I was overwhelmed or had too much on my plate, only to end up returning to use and having all the same old things happen all over again. With disappointment in myself or disappointing family and putting my loved ones through it again. But I also didn't want to draw it out too long because I felt like maybe I would lose momentum. So when you said about things that used to be scary, but then now you just go at them, I totally did that too. I had that mindset. The things that used to be like, because they were new to me, they were unknown, and we fear what we don't know or understand. And so even things that were unfamiliar to me that maybe would have made me shy away from or even just not even attempt to do, I chose to just full on just do it. And instead of these things being challenges or whatever that I was afraid of, they became accomplishments to be made. And I told myself, if I fail, at doing these positive things, I know that as long as I keep at it, eventually I will achieve them. And any failures I might have in my recovery are nothing compared to the failures I might have had in active addiction.
Right.
But my idea and my notion of what recovery is kind of evolved from when I first, this time around when I was able to get traction in my recovery early on. I had kind of like a really broad, like loose idea of what it might be. But as I went along and as I learned more stuff and talking with more people and just being a part of the recovery community, it was obvious to me that our paths are different. Recovery looks different for everyone. We're all taking our own recovery journey, but the destination is the same. The end result is the same. And so it just made me want to keep at it and keep on and look to people that were in long-term recovery for inspiration, and telling them some of the same things that other people might tell me, about how far I've come and achievements that I've made, and I still have trouble with like accepting like compliments or praise for things like that,
Right.
But that's just my own hang up, But I always try to be humble about it and tell people that are early in recovery, look, I didn't do nothing superhuman, I made a series of choices that were informed and educated by professionals and other people in the recovery community. I really leaned into the resources that were available to me, and I knew it was going to be a process. It wasn't going to happen on, in this timeline that I had made up in my mind. I knew that. So disappointment and frustration with things not happening when I want them to happen really wasn't a big obstacle, you know.
Like it would have been.
Yeah, I knew that it was going to take time and consistency, and especially with my loved ones, you know, coming around finally, you know, seeing that my recovery it's there, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm doing everything that I can every day to keep it unshakable, to safeguard it. Learning how to deal with things in healthy ways, and it's an ongoing process. You know, I'm still learning. I'm still, you know, figuring things out. I got a good bead on it, but I could always be progressing.
Right. And I think when you're doing the work, people see it. So when you're not doing it and you're mad at them for thinking, and you think you're doing it, and you're like, why ain't nobody saying anything? Because you're not actually doing nothing. You're just walking the walk, or you're just zombie walking, or whatever. But all that, I like all that, man. That's all the good choices. Because you have, I don't know, just the way you speak, I think is going to make a lot of people listen more. So thank you for just sharing that.
Yeah. I mean, I really, I don't, you know, I'm never even sure if anything, when I talk with somebody, whether in group or in private, I'm never really sure if it's making any sense to them or having any kind of impact. Recovery is not, it's not always easy. It's not like, well, I stopped using and I started taking medication, and I went to this place one time for a couple months. Now I'm cured. It's a complete lifestyle change, and it requires daily maintenance, like every day. But that becomes part of your routine. It becomes part of your lifestyle, so that it doesn't seem like, oh well, I have to do this extra list of things. You know, it's not burdensome.
Right.
Because it becomes second nature. It's like a part of who you are.
Yeah, that's what I try to do with just like my energy and with because I've made a whole change where I'm like just positive.
Yes.
When everybody's, well, I'm doing this, I just see the excuse, and I can use your words to show you just the same good thing about what you said.
Right.
But that's just like how far I've come, just like in my mental work. And that's where my recovery has been, mostly in my head, and it's not been out like working, getting jobs. And so that's why I've been like kind of guarded on my recovery, because my recovery isn't like, I don't know, I don't think it's desirable for people. It don't look fun.
It's not completely outwardly. It's all been internal healing and processing and growth and improvement and progress.
Yeah, for where now I'm ready to go out and maybe find that job that I want, and then work up to that part of a success. But right now, I feel like I'm probably the best I've ever been in my life, even though I don't have what everybody else has or whatever society standard. I still live at home, but I'm healthier than I've probably ever been.
Yes.
That's the most important part to me. So that's why that's my recovery.
Yeah.
But like you, I look up to you because that's where I want to get. You've got this great job. You're changing people's lives. You started a program with Sam. Now it's like, what is it going to be? And that's like, that inspires me. That's what I'm trying to do with this Firekeeper recovery. It's like, this is the beginning, and hopefully the end goal is to build a recovery center here that is independent from like everybody.
That would be pretty awesome.
So we can be 24/7.
Yeah.
Because that is my main goal. 9 to 5, that's covered. The hospital.
Yeah.
And she's got 9 to 5 covered. I need to cover 5 to 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning when the people that are using are probably awake.
yeah, definitely. Especially in the late hours, you know.
Yeah.
People's got to have some place to go, you know, when they don't have a place to go.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, Brent.
So that's what I'm working towards now. Right now, it's a long process I'm learning. You gotta build things.
Hey man, when you've got the vision and the drive like you do, no matter what the length of time is between start to finish, you'll get it done. It'll happen.
Yeah, because I think I
It'll
found me
happen.
a building finally that the tribe hadn't bought. That's been abandoned for a while. So I ain't gonna talk about it on here
A private location.
because I think maybe if we talk to the people, they might give us a good deal to like just make money since it hadn't been used in decades.
Right.
And if we fix it up, let us use it for 2 years, and then if we get something going, I don't know, maybe we could get somebody to help us get a bigger place. That'd be the goal you want to build.
Yep.
But that's the first place. And basically what it's building for is a place where you can just come be safe. And then while you're there, that's when we'll talk to you. We'll educate you. We'll hit you with music, positivity, movies. Hey, sit down and watch this movie with us.
Yeah.
Oh, check this podcast out. Just different ways to connect with people other than that 12 steps. We're going to connect with these younger people. That's the way I'm trying to videos. I don't know.
Yeah.
So just trying. If people's got an excuse, well, I can't come here for this. Well, hell, we'll come to you. We'll go to YouTube. Here we are.
That's pretty good. Yeah. It's the inclusivity and outreach. That's, you know, and being vocal about it in your community and proactive, like you are. That's the best way to connect with people. You know, and people that know us. You know, because we're both from Cherokee and lived here our whole lives. They've seen us from where we were to where we are now, and with anybody that's got significant time in their recovery, you know, your walking does the talking for you.
Yeah.
And people can see that, like you said, and it's damn, I don't know, man. It's just such a fulfilling, happy, positive, healthy existence. You know, it's you wake up with just gratitude on your heart and a sense of purpose. You know, we're able to truly discover who we are as individuals and collectively as a people. Whereas for years we may have floundered in those attempts, you know, dealing with them, you know, or
running from them.
Yeah, running from them, or just, you know, not dealing with them in healthy ways.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the recovery community here in Cherokee, and there's a lot of people that's in it now that, you know, their walks doing their talking for them too.
Yeah. And just like when you go to group now, and you see faces in there from our past and stuff, like people, you're like, that dude, man, he's here, he's doing it, he's trying. And then you see that other guy, where you're like, wow, that dude's in there. Just like the people, and maybe it's not having nothing to do with us, but I think maybe it does a little bit. They see, oh shit, Bumper got 5 years now. I'll try that out.
Yeah.
Maybe it don't, but I think it does, and that's why it's important for us to say this is what worked for us. I went to the MAT program and used to box.
Yep.
And I think it could work for a lot of other people, not for everybody.
Yeah.
Some other people, the withdrawals, for me, that's the thing. The withdrawals and all that stuff is what keeps you. The boxing is good for you.
Yeah.
It allows you not to withdraw, and then while you're not withdrawing, you can work.
Yeah.
And then by the time you're ready to taper off to withdrawals, you're mentally strong enough to where that don't matter.
Yeah.
It's just, my belly hurts a little bit. I got a headache.
You've done the work, you know, with your self-improvement or even just your growth.
Yeah.
And are able to decide, you know, for yourself when the time is right for you to perhaps taper off, or if you feel like it's lifelong maintenance. You know, it's and that's a great thing about recovery, is it's unique to the individual, and it's no matter what somebody else's recovery journey might look like, I can still cheer them on, and I can support them and encourage them, because I know what the end result they're looking for.
Right.
And I believe we found it, and I'm holding on to mine, and I want other people that are new to recovery to really find it for themselves too.
Yeah. And I think right now, I think the church is coming together, and there's different people doing recovery in different ways, and I think we're going to start coming together more and be us working with the ones that are the hardcore NA people that you're not clean because you're an MAT.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
they're starting to realize now, and I think we'll be working more now. They're starting to be educated more.
Yeah.
That it is a medicine,
Yes.
and not everybody's doing it the work. Some people are just using it to get to per cap. We get it. Not everybody does it right.
But it's still harm reduction.
Yeah. At least they're staying alive to be able to have hope.
Yeah.
Because that's what I want. Because that person that does overdose from it might not be that person you was hoping it would be. It's going to be that person that was kin to you.
Yeah.
That's the way the world works.
Yeah.
You're like, why don't that guy ever die? He don't. I don't know. He's still here. That's the way the world works.
It's a mystery, yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
But hey, man, thank you.
Yeah.
This is a great conversation.
I'm always glad to do these with you, Brent. It's always fun, and you know, I get to share a little bit about my experience and what I think about things, and God knows I like to hear the sound of my own voice. So, so
Yeah, and it's good to hear somebody else give you a break so you can gather back up. Let me get my breath.
yeah.
Wow, I've been Brant Grant for Firekeeper Recovery. This is
Bumper Smith.
And hell, we thank you for joining us. Hopefully we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
And we'll be the weather wouldn't cooperate with us, so we had to sit in the van and sweat. But
Also Tuesday, 6 o'clock, Brant's group.
yeah, River
The
Cane
River Cane
Room, Analyski,
Yeah.
Mara 12 steps is the basics of it, but will be whatever it needs to be. Tonight we had a great just discussion with the people that was there.
Right.
It's whatever you need. If somebody comes in that's struggling, that's what we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But if we're going down to 12 steps, we'll do that too. Because I think that first one's what a lot of people, especially with Mara, it reads different. It's not about surrendering to a higher power.
Yeah.
It's saying, I take responsibility for my recovery.
Yes.
But I can't do it alone.
Yeah.
So I need that support.
Yeah.
So that's reaching out to a higher power. I need the support.
Yeah.
But I take responsibility.
Right.
That's why I really, the way it reads in NA is I give all control up to the higher power.
Oh, okay,
which is-
yeah.
I don't
Whereas-
think you gotta do the work. And if you think God's gonna do it, then that's you not doing the work again. It's looking for outside help.
Like it lets you looking for a way to let yourself off the hook.
Yeah. But I know that's not the way it is, but that's the way my mind interprets it.
I
My
get what
mind's
you're
very
saying.
literal. It's like that sometimes.
I get what you're saying. It's your choice, your responsibility, your
And
It's
if
on
you
you.
grew up in church, sometimes you're just not into the religion. And anytime it says God, people are turned off.
sometimes, yeah.
So at least it's, because I think recovery, the 12 steps is a lot of what we do in the groups.
Yeah.
Learning like triggers and all that stuff is learning your defects and all that stuff. Making amends is just like going to sit with my mom and explaining to her that it wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
She didn't cause it. She couldn't cure it and she couldn't control it. That was wrong.
It had to be you.
Yeah, but I just thank you for giving me the chance to hold on to me, to let me find my fucking feet.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's like stuff we will expand on. We'll talk more. Hopefully, I'm gonna get her to do a video with me.
That'd be cool.
Cause I think she's just a special person.
She got some good insight, you know.
The strongest person I know.
Our Cherokee women are like that.
When she should have died in a fire at 8 years old, and then still was able to have 3 kids and
Yeah.
a family. Like, wow.
Yeah.
So that's why she inspires me. But hey, thank you. We'll see you next time. We ain't got no fancy sign.
No fancy outro or nothing. Until next time.
Dana dog home, yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. What was the running time?
30 minutes.
Damn, they're right on the nose.
Yeah, I might have to cut it in half.